All right, let's bring in Mick Mulvaney. Chris Stirewalt gives us the head, but you got to understand the heart also. And Mick Mulvaney understands the heart of what the true GOP is. That was a compliment to you. You're welcome. You know him, former Trump chief of staff, founding member of the Freedom Caucus, when it really started as something that was going to have fiscal responsibility as a paramount principle. Now, I don't think a lot of the people in the caucus would have even gotten in when Mick was in charge of it, but we'll let him speak for himself. So what's your take on what's happening inside the ranks right now?
Yeah, I just don't get it. Hey, Chris, by the way, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. A couple things. I always try and push back a little bit here in the last 12 hours about how this is a Freedom Caucus uprising. A majority of the caucus actually voted for Kevin McCarthy today, and several of the people who voted against Kevin McCarthy are not in the Freedom Caucus. So I know that a lot of folks, Andy Biggs most specifically, who is the current leader of the Freedom Caucus, is also one of the leaders of the Never Kevin movement. But this is not a Freedom Caucus sort of movement. And your point, by the way, is absolutely right. There's a lot of folks here who would have never gotten in. Keep in mind, we needed reasonable people in the Freedom Caucus. That's why we started. We were calling ourselves the Reasonable Nutjob Caucus for a while, just because we needed people to be able to think things through and sort of play chess instead of playing checkers. And I don't think a lot of folks who are voting no today are playing a lot of chess these days. I talk to a lot of these folks and I ask them, what's the plan? And they're like, well, the plan is to prevent Kevin from being speaker. I'm like, okay, that's great, but what's the next move after that? And they really don't have one. So it's been a very weird kind of day on the floor. Stirewalt made a lot of really good points about the right wing, or at least these Never Kevin people getting all the attention. The big risk here, I think, to the Republican Party is that the left wing of the party branches off and says, look, there's no way we'll ever get 218 votes amongst Republicans, so a big group of us is going to go over and talk to the Dems and try and find somebody to the left of Kevin. I actually think that is a viable possibility after what happened today.
You really think that people within the GOP would leave and join the Democrats?
Jim Jordan was on another channel tonight saying he knows he doesn't have the votes to be speaker. He's right. Steve Scalise doesn't have the votes to be speaker, and they know that. The only person who could really get 218 within the current makeup of the House is Kevin McCarthy. That's if you only go to the Republicans. Right. But enough times through, without getting a speaker, someone is going to turn to the Democrats and say, what do you guys want to do? I was in the building most of the day, and I can't tell you the number of my Democrat colleagues, former colleagues now, who walked up to me and said, you know, y'all will come to us eventually. You know you will. You guys can't elect anybody. They may be right. So I don't think anybody to the right of Kevin can get elected, and I think somebody to the left is actually the more likely outcome right now, if not Kevin.
Wow. Well, I don't think it's going to be Jim Jordan. I certainly don't think he's going to be a broker, because he's going to be in full-out investigation mode. That's where his head's going to be. I'm going to be having him on this show. His sleeves are going to be rolled up, and he's going to have big stacks of paper that shows all this malfeasance and misfeasance. Let me ask you just one last thing, Mick. And you're always welcome on the show. It's good to have you. Isn't this just more proof that this system sucks, and that two parties can only be zero-sum? And that's all that this will ever yield, is that the Republican job now is keep the Democrats down. And if the Democrats were in the same position, they may not play it as well, but they'd have the same goal. Let's just keep these people down until we get another election.
Look, well, I mean, the Democrats were the same way during the second 2 years of the Trump administration, where all they had, and all you have is one lever to pull. It's what you pull. You know, when the Democrats were in charge of the House, the Republicans were in the White House and the Senate, it was their job to stop us. That's the way the system works. Look, if Stirewalt said something I thought that was really insightful. If the system's broken, here's where I think it's broken, is that we elect people who want to be celebrities now. We're not electing people who are serious lawmakers. We're selecting people who are judging success or failure by how many times they get on TV, how many Facebook followers they have, how many people retweet their comments, how much money they raise from those email lists that they build up by this outrageous behavior. The serious lawmakers are the folks who are on the way out. To the extent that you and I can agree on something tonight, the system is broken. I think that's one of the reasons that it is.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.